Call the East China Township Board meeting for April 1st of 2024 to order, please. Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Westrick?
Here.
Clerk Smith here. Treasurer Hart? Here. Trustee Babel, Trustee Blackstock?
Here.
Trustee Nats?
Here.
Trustee Richley?
Here.
Trustee Babel, absent.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The agenda, we had a few additions, just a few. To the consent agenda, C11 is a building permit report. C12 is a Marine City Area Fire Authority March Run Report. C13, St. Clair Area Fire Authority March Run Report. For new business, on new business 7, we have a clerk's salary discussion. New business 8, GT Bridge proposal, if you will, for as part of the TAP grant. New business 9 is Woodhill Group, an accountant's proposal for services, and we'll explain that when we get to that too. Okay, and with those changes, is there someone that would recommend we approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Mr. Blackstock?
Support.
Ms. Smith? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Minutes from the last meeting? If there's no changes or any problems?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Mr. Richley?
Support.
Mr. Knotts? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Presentation, St. Clair County Sheriff.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Captain Paul on behalf of the Sheriff's Office. I have something to hand out. You guys were kind of shuffling paper.
More handouts, I like that.
We'll go over this. This is something new we just did this year, our yearly report.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, sir.
There you go, handouts, thank you, Sheriff.
We have visual aids.
Visual aids, yes.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
And I'll just leave, there's a couple extra pieces. We'll leave them here at the township if you want to put them out somewhere.
Okay.
Sure.
So people can look at them.
Thank you.
And I think you'll see as you go through that, we each individual township that we contract with has a page dedicated to them. I think you might be like 6 pages in. And the rest just talks about the sheriff's office in general, what we did in the past year, different divisions that we have, things going on in the jail. And then some of our specialties like the drug task force and special response team. So I just got those today. So that's why you're the first township to get them and have a look at them. So
Thank you.
we're pretty proud of it. It was a lot of work. Other than that, the only thing department-wide, we just finished up our yearly in-service training a couple weeks ago, so everybody goes through that. Legal update by the prosecutor's office, tactical medicine, enemy bandaging, tourniquets, treating gunshot wounds, emergency vehicle operations, set up a track out the airport, set up scenarios out there, and then we go through the gun range. So every deputy's completed that. And today we promoted deputy private, the sergeant. So he's moving on to his next step in his career. You may see him at one of these meetings soon. So that's what I have for our updated jobs.
Thank you.
Yeah, lots of good information.
Any questions for?
Very nice. I can't wait for you to see what's going on.
Oh, thank you.
That'll probably distract everybody for the rest of
Yeah.
It's gonna cut this away, you guys. I like those. It's impressive.
Yes, nice. Thank you. Professional.
Okay, any questions or concerns within the township?
No, we change, in the summer, we change hours again, right? When it comes around to June, I think.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, we'll do that to kind of coincide with the
School hours, so that'll be,
Yeah.
that's upcoming, okay.
Yeah. Good.
I don't think I have anything other. I know that there's been a couple member comments about policing Point Drive a little bit, but I know you guys are out there a lot, so check the speed over there a little bit. It's under construction too, and they're not paying attention to that. And it's got a lot of restoration, some driveways to replace, so I'm sure. And then Bryson Lane had some issues on it too with a couple of kids making a mess over there, I understand. Tearing up stuff. I believe it's been alleged that they hit the hydrant that we had to replace, but no, can't prove that, but
Really?
anyway. That's the only information, feedback I've gotten so far. But thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I didn't see any of the money passing there.
Yeah.
Good night.
Public comment. Anybody? Can't get anything out of either of you.
I know.
I'm correct.
If we pry hard enough, we wouldn't want it, is that what you're saying? All right. Consent agenda, we got C1 departmental reports, C2 is the Park Commission January 24 meeting minutes, C3 is a request for training from the DPW, C4, St. Clair County Sheriff quarterly report, which you have in your hands. Well, that's the report there, but we have another one. C5, Med Mutual renewal, C6 is the Marine City Area Fire Report, February 2024. 7 is the St. Clair Area Fire Authority report for February of 24. C8 is a Historical Commission minutes, February 24. C9, 2024 SEMCOG membership invoice, which is paid. C10, affirm power plan RRG resolution. C11 is a building permit report. Does that have a month on it? Do we need that?
So I have two requests. This actually, C11 is part of C1. It
Okay.
just needs to be submitted with C1.
Okay.
And
So-
C2 should read February 2024 minutes.
Park Commission?
Yes, not January.
Okay, C2, Park Commission, February 2024 meetings. C1 and departmental reports is also including the building permit that's in there, so we will scratch that from the consent and drop. Marine City Area Fire Authority March run report will be C11, and then C12 will be St. Clair Area Fire Authority March run report, okay?
So we're scratching the C11 and putting that with C1?
That's part of departmental reports, yep.
And then C11
So 11 is
and
Marine
12.
City and 12 is St. Clair run for March.
All right.
And Park Commission February meetings, got that. All right, so with those changes, C1 through C12, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent
got a
agenda as
question.
amended.
I got a question. One of the items on the consent agenda is for training, and you'll even find some further on that we have to vote on. Why are we not bringing this one up individually? Why is it in the consent agenda?
Which number is that? C3?
One for-
C3?
The one for DPW guy.
Yep, so. I can pull it up. 3. It is, because this amount is under the $500 threshold, that I'm allowed to administratively approve and then just consent.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I entertain a motion to approve consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
Mr. Knotts? Spade? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Disbursements, Ms. Hart.
We have disbursements, payroll, $72,110.41. Accounts payable, $300,795.37. EFTs, $25,908.63. E-checks, $604.60. Tax disbursements, $18,626.26. And invoices, $36,151.92 for a grand total of $454,197.19. I make a motion to pay the bills in that amount.
Support.
Moved by Treasurer, supported by Mr. Knotts. Any other comments, questions? If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote, Supervisor Westrick?
Yes.
Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel? Yes. Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knott?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Thank you. We don't have any unfinished old business that I know of. New business, is request for training wastewater plant, which is over $500, Mr. Knott, so we'll have to bring this up, I guess. I'm glad you said it,
I
because I
didn't know
didn't
there was a
realize
rule
that.
about
I didn't either.
I just learned something.
Yeah.
Just approve wastewater treatment plant operator, as noted there, 2-day class, 4/17/18. Then you've got your allocated from the fund number, and the amount is $961.27, right?
Now, I assure the Water and Sewer and Water Authority folks are always in favor of more training for our people, so I will make that a motion.
Mr. Knott,
Support.
Ms. Hart. Any other comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote. Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knotts?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Business 2 is the Sinclair Area Fire Authority. That's their 2024-2025 budget, which was adopted at the March 6th meeting. Basically, not that you can say in it, it's based on runs, but I brought it here to be presented so you know about it, so we can go ahead and approve that. Our portion this year will be $161,088.
There's a typo there.
$88.
It's on the reverse, you'll see it, $161,080. 161,080. That's 23.05% of the calls from St. Clair's office. That's our hours, and that's how it's based on that. Be happy to know that it's down, almost, it's a little bit over 1%, and it's going to continue, maybe trend this year's down, and it's basically due to the EMS calls that are
Yes.
new dispatch rules and stuff that are taking
Yeah.
that med calls away from us, so. Our percentage has actually gone down, which is a good news, but their budget is way up this year. They've
Yeah,
got
I
some-
noticed it jumped $100,000.
Yeah, they got some big equipment.
I was wondering what that was.
They got a new engine that they have to replace here soon, and then it's on the schedule to be built in 3 more years or something like that. They are not cheap.
Yeah, I was trying to look through there to figure out which one is the big increase.
Yeah, wages about 290 to 313.
Well,
so
I
maybe
guess
very
it's,
much.
you got 91 grand capital outlay as an increase. so-
Yeah,
All right,
it's about 100,000.
yep,
So,
okay.
and it's a fire number. So, but that's what we have. So it's $161,080. I make a motion we approve that as presented.
Support.
By Mr. Ripley. Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knotts?
Yes,
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Clerk Smith, yes. Supervisor Westrick?
Yes,
Thank you.
thanks. New business 3, Township Hall lawn fertilizing, 3-year contract extension. The current contractor is willing to extend the contract for another 3 years, 24, 25, and 26 for fertilizing here with no increase. So we need a motion, if it's in favor of it, a motion for a manager to sign the extension of the agreement for those 3 years. And see the cost on the back there, which is what we're doing now.
I'll make that a motion.
Ms. Smith, is there support?
Support.
Mr. Blackstock? Okay. We need a roll call on that.
Yeah, which fund?
Probably should. It's
All right.
amount, money.
Go ahead.
Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knott?
yes,
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Okay, new business 4, sewer credit request at 520 Francis Street. You see that we have a request here. And the form's been filled out as explained. Our DPW supervisor, it's marked as water entered the sewer, so that per our policy, there is no credit allowed on that, and that's what he has marked. We just need a formal motion by the board to,
I just have a real quick question.
yeah.
Probably a stupid question, but is this Blaine that filled this out?
This is the homeowner that fills this out, and then, yes, our DPW supervisor.
Okay.
Sends someone out, or he
that
goes
guy
out.
fills it out. Blaine checks it and signs it off,
So the
He usually-
person that filled that out was the homeowner?
probably.
Yes,
Okay,
the
okay.
homeowner fills that
Okay.
portion out, and then our supervisor fills the other person.
Okay.
He goes and investigates it.
Okay.
For a sewer for a toilet that's running, it's still entered the sewer, which generally,
Yeah, right.
we're treating the water, so.
Yeah.
By the handwriting.
So we need
the same as
an
this
action
guy.
item.
I'll make that a motion to deny the
Yeah.
sewer request, sewer credit request.
Support.
Moved by Ms. Smith, supported by Ms. Hart, to deny the credit for the amount of $100. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Sewer credit request, 5441 Orchard Drive, another request. This one's a little bigger. And you'll see on here in the back, no one was living there.
Wow. Yeah, I remember this. Wow.
But none of
It's kind of a long, I read it, I don't know if everybody else did. It's water that did not enter the sewer. So we issue a partial credit for that amount, and it was calculated by Blaine, in that amount. So that's a lot of water.
Well, I think it's actually calculated by the people that keep track of the billing.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Blaine
the
just
amount
checks
is a
to
little
make
bit
sure
different.
where the water goes.
Yeah, the amount of the request is just a little bit different than what the amount of credit that our supervisor authorized. It's a little bit different, but it's almost all of it, so.
Well, that's where Blaine gets the number. But
Yeah.
when he puts the number down, he gets the number from the guys that never
I think
calculate it.
probably the readiness to serve and everything else was in the one that the homeowner
No,
had. And
yeah.
back that back out.
But,
Anyway, just a minute. It's-
But we, without seeing the bill, this is just the sewer portion, not the water portion.
Yep,
correct.
That's what it's supposed
We
to
don't
be.
issue credits for water.
we
Right,
don't issue credits for water.
only
right,
sewer.
Thing ran all summer.
yeah.
I'm surprised it's ran out. They must have had a heck of a
That's why I was
water.
just wondering,
They
because
must
the
have had
amount
a
was
heck of a water
high.
bill.
It ran a long time.
He said he didn't notice it till they got his bill. Wow.
Make a motion, we approve this sewer credit.
You know,
For the amount of $2965.34,
Correct.
Support.
moved by Mr. Blackstock, supported by Mr. Richley. Any other questions? Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call, trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knox?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Treasurer Hart?
Yes,
Clerk Smith, yes. Supervisor Westrick?
Yes.
Water don't go into the sewer, you don't have to pay for it. No problem.
Our DPW supervisor brought this to our attention, and our manager brought it up. Basically, we have a time to repair, time to correct for a code violation that we need to have clarified. You notice in here that it used to say timely, or probably, what did it say, Cindy? A reasonable amount of time. We get away from that. We put a time on it. So basically what we're asking here for is an approve a 45-day required time to correct for these shared water service lines that described. And these are lines that are shared services going into buildings, like, you know, one line comes in and two people branch off to each house. Our ordinance requires each one to have their own. So he's got a handful of them that are still in the township that need to be corrected. Many of them actually are in the area that we're doing work right now. So what we want to do is get that repaired. He's put the service boxes already in for them. What we do is we waive tap fee and the benefit fee for those customers, as that's thousands of dollars right there that we're waiving. They just have to hook their line up to it.
right.
So this is a requirement that they have to do that. That's a substantial savings, because if they have
Oh,
to pay
yeah,
us to
yeah.
do a tap fee and pay us to do the tap, which we're gonna do those,
Right.
and we're gonna waive the benefit fee too. So this is just saying, look, these handful of these people, we need you 45 days to correct these. So
So is this being adopted as a policy then?
it's a change to the policy, yes. It's an addition to,
It said reasonable.
We're not amending the
Cindy,
ordinance, is
Correct.
my question.
The ordinance is not clear, so this board is clarifying for this particular instance.
Policy,
The
basically.
ordinance said reasonable time. We're specifying what that reasonable
Correct.
time
And,
is.
and
all of our ordinances are going to that.
Okay,
I'm wondering, all of these, with the exception of one or two, are substantially long lines. And I'm just wondering if 45 days is enough. I mean, we're not in a big hurry, we just need to get it done.
45 days, they can ask for an extension on time. of course, that's always
Okay.
written into that, and anything
agree
reasonable, then we can grant that on an individual basis, but we have to have something according to our.
I
attorney,
understand, I just
a line in the
thought
sand.
45 days is a little short. Some of those lines are 690 feet,
Yeah.
and there's 5 or 6 of them.
Be a lot
There's
of
so-
money.
only so many contractors, and I just wondered
Yeah,
if,
well, there's actually gonna be given the guy that we use mainly for boring is gonna give prices to our supervisor for each of these. And if they can do them all at once, he's gonna say, all right. So he's getting prices to help them out too, saying, hey, look, this is the contractor we use, and this is the numbers. So they'll also be provided that, they don't have to.
okay, then
search that.
it's understood that these guys get, as long as they're making some effort or some progress,
Sure.
that
If we
getting
get no
an
response
extension
at
is
all in
not-
45 days, then we move on.
Right.
will be addressed by the supervisor.
If it's scheduled
If
and
they're
they're
talking
gonna
to
work
them
on
and they're
it,
saying
yeah.
doing this and doing that, that's fine.
All right.
But this, there has to be a line drawn in the sand somewhere, and this.
I understand, I thought that was rather short for what has to be done.
You answered a few of my questions, but, is it on Point Drive that we're talking about?
Some on Point Drive, there's some on Chamberlain, there's a few of them around here. Like about 8 of them or 10 of them, Cindy, is that about right?
Somewhere,
That's the
10
other
to
question.
12.
Okay.
You want to ask the other
Page
question?
worth.
So like 45 days from official
How to have-
letter notification.
This letter's
Yeah.
gonna go out, we're getting this letter approved, and we wanted to clarify that ordinance before we send it.
Yeah.
Is there
He's
any
got
indication,
prices
you've looked into, how did this happen since?
It's been there for, like
It's-
everybody else that's got, like the special assessment district down here, they've been able to do that too.
These are existing for a long period of time, is what you're saying.
According to the supervisor at our DPW, he said he's brought it up to the previous board of supervisors and they've done nothing about it, so
Okay,
I'm doing what we're supposed to do. How's that?
that'll work.
For sort of a,
How many are there approximately?
about 8 to 10, I think,
Okay.
that's what we had, yeah.
The only thing that, because I have the ordinance here, and there, like where you guys are talking about the reasonable time, I don't even see that on there. There's not even,
Right, that's why we want to clarify this.
okay.
We got to put a time limit on it, and then they can come to us and say, look, we found this out, or I'm getting my tax refund check in June, or whatever, whatever. They can come to us and talk, and then we can individually grant them something, but we just need to know that they're going to do something about it.
Right.
But
Okay?
I mean, say you go to somebody and you're like, okay, send a letter, and then they're like, well, I can't afford it. What do you do then?
Right.
Turn it off.
Bring it back to this board for decision, eventually,
All right.
yeah,
Yeah, they would have to petition the board themselves.
right.
They'd have to petition the board.
Yeah.
Is this like an Eagle thing? Is that why or
Eagle requires some of that stuff too, but that's what it's a nightmare for our DPW.
right? So you gotta
Service
track
is
where
leaking
the
somewhere, they gotta
water's
shut it
going.
off, and it shuts 2 houses off, and guys like, well, I don't have water, what's going on over here,
Yeah.
It's real consistent with what we're doing with our special
Yeah.
assessment district and everything else, so.
Yeah.
It's a current ordinance.
And it's really not as much as you think, even the long ones, because the boring is basically, the guy's gotta get here and do his thing, and his equipment's gotta get here. Once he's boring, it doesn't matter how long it is, and it's plastic pipe, which is
Yeah.
not a big money per foot thing.
Right.
It's mainly the bore,
And we're gonna
They're not
cover-
gonna vary a ton by length.
And we're covering the top and the box and the stop box,
Putting a
right?
brand new service and a box, of course.
That's expensive.
And
Yeah.
everything else, so, and waiving the benefit fees,
Okay.
All right.
so. But that's the gist of it. Any other questions? If not, I'd entertain motion to approve the 45-day required time to correct for the shared water service.
For shared service lines.
So moved. Mr. Blackstock,
I support.
Ms. Babel. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. New business 7, Ms. Smith.
Yes. Okay, so after the last election and going through the 9 days of early voting, all the time that was put into it, I've come up with kind of estimates, these are probably on the lighter side, for the clerk, extra 100 hours for, it's basically like running 2 elections. It's like double. So basically, between the prep, inspectors, trips to the county clerk's office, supplies, the 9 days of early voting is almost 80 hours right there. That's just Gotta come in, open the building at 6:30, 6:45. We leave here about 3:15 if all goes well. So I mean, 100 is probably on the light side. What I'm asking for is just to be, the clerk salary to be increased based on 5 elections during this term. We've got 3 this year. 2026, we'll have 2 more. So every state and federal election, we're gonna have this 9 days of early voting. Basically, the equipment testing, every time we have an election, we have to have a company come in and test all of our equipment. That was like doubled, an extra like 2.5 hours last time. I was here till 7:30 at night from 3 o'clock. It's just, everything takes so much longer. We have extra equipment that has to be tested and set up. So basically, I mean, it involves multiple weekend hours. So I took, basically what I did is I took the 5 elections, 500 hours, took that total and divided it over the 4-year like clerk term. And basically, I'm asking for the clerk's salary to be increased by $3,200 a year.
3254.
What's that?
$3,200.
I did the math. In your resolution, you went to 14.
Oh, I'm sorry. I rounded it, you're right.
What's the current? Or, oh,
The
it's right here.
current's 11,246.
When you say annual increase, you're saying 3,200 every year in your term, or just 3,200 to the base salary?
Annually.
Just to the base salary. So I mean, from that point on, it would be 14,500 per year rather than 11,246.
Right.
So here's the thing. 'Cause, I mean, so the question that I have is who does what with the election? Like, how many people are, like, I mean, obviously I don't know how the inner workings of it, but I mean, you have the clerk. Is there a deputy clerk
There's a
involved?
deputy clerk. She has a full-time job, so she was able to come in and help me about maybe 6 hours on a
Okay.
Saturday, and we got the ballots out. So once we get that big, pretty much that's what the help that I can get, you know,
Right.
because everything else is, you have to be certified with the state of Michigan to get in the system, in the QVF, to log. So basically, she was stuffing envelopes, I'm entering applications, printing the labels. That's kind of the gist of it.
How many election workers are there? Approximately?
Election workers, so basically for the early voting, we have to have 3 workers, 3 inspectors at all times, balance out your Democrat, Republicans. We have to have 1 person as the chairperson. We have to have a site supervisor that cannot serve as an inspector.
Okay.
And basically, that's for that part.
And they're here every day for the 9-day early voting plus the
Correct.
election day?
A couple people rotated a couple days being the site supervisor and the chairperson, because some of them couldn't work the whole, every day in a row.
Mhm.
But like if I'm here that day for the time period, then I'll serve. This was our test run, but I can serve as a site supervisor then
Mhm.
when I'm here, so we won't have to have another person, a 4th person, because they just don't have the volume,
Yeah.
you know?
Is there a way that we,
That's my
instead
plan.
of changing the salary, is there a way we can just do an hourly thing, or no?
That was gonna be my question. What, you know, we did make an increase in the salary for the clerk sometime during this term, was right, I think it was right after.
April 5th of 21.
Like that. Why wouldn't we do this as a increase for election? You know, so much of an increase per election rather than to make it a forever increase in a salary.
Not allowed by statute.
Oh.
That's not
Huh?
how,
It's not allowed by statute. You can't kind of pick and choose how you want to pay. You have to do
Yeah.
all salary or, you know, for your
Give you a
board.
bonus for election.
You cannot do that.
No, they won't let you
Cannot
do
do
that
that.
because it's a statutory
Not under
duty.
township law.
Yeah.
don't go up north to the city or south because they have different laws.
Yeah,
Huh,
I'm-
okay. Answers
MTA,
that
Michigan
question.
Township Association, their April, May is at issue, I think, is out right now. There's a
have it right
big
here.
article about clerk pay and how much more
get
has been
this?
added
Well, I don't disagree with the amount.
From-
It's just
I didn't
wondered-
even
from the,
I
read
was,
yeah.
I was
I
concerned.
missed the
what-
article.
we ought to-
Share it with you because it's in your favor.
Well, there you go, I missed the
I
whole
don't
thing.
disagree with this, disagree
Apparently.
with the amount that they're talking about. What I was talking about is what we're paying for. You know, the clerk has a salary for being the clerk, but if there's something else that comes up.
Yeah, there's
Like,
statutory
shouldn't you
duties
be
are the
able to pay
elections,
for
and it's
that?
been
Yeah.
changed drastically. And again, I don't really care, but what I'm getting at is that article pointed out a lot of things to me. You do all the resolutions,
Most of the resolutions.
yeah.
And the ordinance.
It's not statutory duty of the clerk,
Right.
but, we'd have to pay an attorney to do that,
Right.
technically. So that's an item that she's been doing. There's a few other ones in there too that were listed, I noticed it too. But I know the resolution is a big part of it, but, there's a big article in there, a lot of clerks are saying bye because of this election stuff.
And I've witnessed that myself in the other township I work in, and I had to step in and do the whole election.
And there was
so-
nothing to it, was there?
Oh, yeah, it was.
You basically didn't have a life.
don't have
the
a
month
life.
Of February, the whole month, because you
Yeah.
just want to have everything, and it was so many new
The,
things.
yeah, the 9 days
And
really,
they weren't ready to roll this out, and they
messes
got it
things
pushed
up.
on us, and
Well, we all know that Sandy's a whiner, but honestly,
we're all screaming.
What happened to all
It is
that
a lot
stuff-
more
What
work.
happened to all that stuff you
it's a
guys
lot
were-
more work.
What happened to all the stuff
And
you
it's not
guys were
just one
telling
time.
me when we started this, that the state was picking up all this extra charges?
Well, they picked up the February election.
yeah, that's it.
Again, that's money that's coming in that if we don't pay her, we're just making money then, technically.
That's what I'm getting. If
The
they're
only-
paying for it.
They don't pay
then-
any of mine, the
No,
clerk,
they pay
Right.
for all the workers and
Correct. all
supplies.
the other expenses.
Right.
But that was
I
just
see.
the primary.
Okay.
The only thing, because, it's nothing against Sandy, because, I mean, she has more experience than probably everybody combined before her, the last, like, 5 probably, but I mean, the problem is 20, 30 years down the line when you're not here, and say somebody, Joe Blow off the street, runs for clerk and then gets in there and doesn't have that experience, that's the thing that I'm
Well, they'll
worried
still have to
about
do
is-
those same statutory duties, whether they have
Well, right,
experience or
right,
not.
but they,
Right.
But they won't probably
they
be doing the
might not work the election.
resolutions and
Right.
all that.
And that's something this board will have to, it'll have to definitely take a look at that then. If they're not gonna contribute as much, is it worth
That's
that?
my only objection, is just because of the position, that's the part that,
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any information as to what the townships of comparable size are paying their clerks?
Well, this sheet here I have, basically, this was 3 years ago. Average 11,660, that's why we gave clerk and the treasurer a raise at that time. Showed us, that we were
We were
grossly
way
under
under,
on
yeah.
that, right. So I'm sure that number has changed in 4 years, so.
yeah.
And
I'm
basically,
sorry,
if you wanna read the
what did you-
MGA
What did you
magazine,
just
it's
say
on
in
my
answer
desk.
to my question?
It's basically a lot of it's changed in the last year.
Do we have any information on what?
I do not,
clerks
not current,
of a- Current, okay, that's what I was asking.
no.
So I was wondering.
I have this
How would this
information,
compare to clerks?
and this was
of
gathered from other
townships?
townships. This was gathered from other townships, so.
How would what we're being proposed compare to what other townships are paying their clerks?
I don't have that answer. But I can guarantee you, with these extra hours, the clerks aren't gonna work for free.
Right.
You're already giving up your life for the whole month that election comes before. So much happens before election day. And they've prolonged it even further now. We have to wait until Friday for any signatures that people didn't sign their AVs. Have to wait till Friday. It's called a signature cure. For them to get them, allowed time for them to come in and sign and correct their signature. Then I have to drive that ballot up to the county. You can't open it, scan it, and email. Drive it up. And then, there's another one. Your move ballots, overseas voters, military, you have to wait till the following Monday after the election. So you have to monitor this if you have any outstanding if they're coming in, and those have to get to the county as well. So the process is just back-ended another week, plus this whole 9 days and the prep before that. I mean, it's, like I said, the 100 hours is probably light. Really, realistically, when you add in 8 hours that you're here and
I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, because with it being a salary, it's like some years are gonna be lighter, I mean, obviously odd
Correct.
numbered years are gonna be light.
that's
and,
why I
you know,
divided it by the 4 years.
Right,
Because I'll be working 3 elections, 300 hours, and I'll only be getting paid for, with this increase, 200 of those hours. Well, actually, 2 this year, because I've already missed the first. But I didn't know what was gonna entail. That's why I wanted to wait and see how that was all gonna pan out before I knew what, what we had invested.
Well, since the township manager has explained to me that we cannot do this when paying for what it is you are doing, and that we must address it strictly as salary, I have no further objections to paying this.
Any other questions, John? Nicole?
No?
Devin? Herb?
I have no objection either. My complaint is at a higher level that we can't fix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why we need to vote for less return for 9 days and increase all these costs for zero return, in
I
my
know.
opinion. Have we increased our voting at all by giving everybody 8 more days to vote?
No, it was horrible.
69.
It is a huge burden.
So I can complain all I want.
Yeah.
The higher powers can do it.
Yeah, it's the idiots in Lansing.
So
Okay,
Yeah.
no other questions? You want to go ahead and read the resolution?
Yeah, what you're doing is we're stuck with it, they're shoving it down, you know.
All right, for consideration, Resolution 6-2024 is compensation to the township officer clerk. Yeah,
Read it.
township clerk. You want to change that, right?
That's how we had it on the last one.
Okay, should spell that out somewhere, I don't know. Anyway, whereas Michigan compiled laws annotated section 4195 subsection 3 provides that the salary for officers composing the township board shall be determined by the township board, and whereas the clerk of the Charter Township of East China had a salary adjustment effective April 5th of 2021, and whereas the salary of the township clerk is currently as follows: clerk, $11,246 annually. Whereas the township board wishes to adjust the salary of the township clerk as follows to $14,500 annually. Now therefore be resolved, the salary for the township clerk, Charter Township of East China shall be adjusted as shown above, effective April 1st of 2024. All resolutions or parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution be and the same hereby are rescinded. P.S. The supervisor gets a big fat raise too.
Yeah, well, I was wondering, why should not we increase in the resolution, indicate that this adjustment is due to the new changes in voting that requires so much extra work by this clerk? I think I ought to say that
We can
in
have
words
that.
to that effect somehow in this resolution.
'cause that would-
To determine in the future, when somebody comes in and says, why did you do that? We can say, because, it says right here in the
Because
resolution.
MTA says you can't just give a raise for the new election duties to the clerk. Pretty
And
much.
That would allude to the
Yes.
fact that you're doing this in response to.
Yeah, it's, because they consider it a statutory duty, even though it has changed, you can't
They
state
have
that's why
got
you're doing it.
increased statutory duties. To cover the increased statutory duties then, I don't care how you say it.
Office of the
But you ought to have a reason
I
in here
don't
for
think,
doing this.
unfortunately, I don't
Changes
think
to their
her
duties.
statutory duties have increased. I think they've always been to run the elections. They've just expanded what the scope of that is.
Right. Yep,
Extremely.
yeah, there was a big article about it. They
love
won't let you
Governor
do it
Whitmer.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always something. Yep. All right, anyway, that's Resolution 6-2024 is read. Is there a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Blackstock, is there support?
I'll support.
Ms. Hart? Okay. Any other comments, questions? If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Nutt?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
No.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes.
And I will abstain.
You cannot abstain.
Can
No.
abstain.
Nope.
Okay, yes.
It's nothing against you, Sandy, it's about the position.
And no Christmas card for Alan.
I think you're gonna
Okay.
regret that in about 5 years.
New business 8,
Yeah.
GT Bridge. We are in the beginning stages of the TAP grant, which is through MDOT, through SEMCOG, which is to repair the bridge that crosses the Bell River, the old railroad bridge over here in the park, okay, guys? Everybody kind of aware of that, to brief you on that again. One of the steps we have to do is have a professional engineer go out and take a look at this, that's a bridge builder, okay? What we've done is we moved this to St. Clair County Road Commission. They have to be the administrator, is that how it is, any kind of?
Right.
Basically of this contract, the entity to do this. Well, we've had a few discussions back and forth with them, and they've agreed now that they will handle the engineering portion of it altogether, as well as the oversight of it, and they will administer the contract, which is a big plus for us, because
Yeah.
St. Clair County Road Commission is actually a not-for-profit entity.
Right.
So they're gonna do everything basically at cost for us, and it's passed through, so that's kind of how that works.
Plus,
So, but they have a company called GT Bridge. Two guys started their own company last year, and they are very well versed in railroad bridges. So they will know exactly what that bridge needs, how we can fix it, what we need to do to it to make it for no more than a passenger vehicle to go over. Basically, our DPW's truck is about all it goes over to plow it. And, and a mowing equipment. So they're gonna come out and do that. The first step is we have to have them come out and do it's a pre-project scope bridge inspection, and you'll see the $4,410 there to do that. They take that all back, and then they give us a presentation of what has to be done, cost for engineering, and then an estimated cost of construction. Okay, and that's the steps that we have to follow, and this is the first step, actually the next step that's due right now to MDOT and TAP grant people.
Okay. We got a grant for paying for some or all of this. How much?
80%,
80%. And will this fee?
this
be
is in,
included?
this is in those estimates.
This fee for this engineer is included in that 80?
That's correct.
That cost, of which we will pay 80%, or
They-
we will get
Yeah,
80%.
they've awarded $311,000.
It's all wrapped together.
Yes.
Whatever we come up with, the bottom line, we got to pay 20% of it.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep, this is the first stage, and I wanted to get it before us now, that's why I added it, because they can get them out there right away to get this looked at.
All right.
We need to make our steps, so.
This
That's
is
where
just
this is for.
informational, or?
No, we need a motion to approve
$4,410.
$4,410 for GT Bridge.
No, yeah.
is it $4,410 is our cost right now?
Right, that's
Yep.
just a pre-project scope of bridge inspection. And you'll read right here,
Initial bridge inspection.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's on the back, sorry. This final report's gonna include written procedures, documented findings, field note sketches, and updated photos, and bridge safety inspection report per the National Bridge Inspection Standards format, which is required, and MDOT bridge scoping cost estimate worksheet. That's stuff
This
that's
guy's gonna
required
work
by
it
the
for
grant to do.
county. We just have
And
to
they're,
pay
they
it.
know exactly how to do that, so. So I make a motion, we approve GT Bridge for the 4410. It's actually St. Clair County Road Commission is gonna be doing this, but we're gonna
Support.
do this between them. Any other discussion? Please call.
roll call vote. Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Nutt?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. New business 9. Woodhill Group is a group of accountants, and I'll just briefly give you what I've got, and Cindy can help with the rest of it. But we are using Yo and Yo as our new auditors, and for lack of a better statement, our previous auditors have not really left us in good shape on this stuff. This is a lot of stuff that's been getting done. The auditor would adjust at the end, and do you remember all those billings that we kept crying about? It's because we weren't aware of what was to be done here. our bookkeeper's got to do certain things in certain ways. So, long and short, we need an accountant, independent of the auditor, to help us get all of this in order, all right? So this is basically a contract to engage them, to work with them, to get our information here in the right formats and in the right categories. And Cindy, take it from there, because you know more about it than I do, as far as exactly what they're talking about.
Well, if you look at Exhibit A, it's the third page in, I think, it's outlining what the services are to be performed. And this came about as we went through our audit this year. They helped us determine kind of where the gaps are in our ability to do our own prep work, and to be aware of all the changes that come about with the accounting requirements and payroll requirements. Things happen that we aren't necessarily aware of, that we should be either aware of or have someone looking out for us and making sure that they're coaching us. So Exhibit A goes through what that scope of work is. Well, the plan is they're going to, and they're very well versed at helping other communities through this transition of either a new auditor or new staff or bringing staff up to speed. We don't have an accountant on staff. We have a bookkeeper who is very good at what she does, but doesn't know what she doesn't know. So this is where we're going to learn. And the plan is over the first few months, the training will probably be a little more intense. And as we learn more and can kind of figure out where things are, headed, it'll dwindle down to more of a consultant role. So I don't anticipate this being any more expensive than what we have encountered over the years. It will be less expensive in the long run because we will be taking ownership of a lot of the things that we were not aware of before.
In my memory, when we had audits in the past, that's always been an issue, but we paid the auditor some additional funds to make various corrections and suggestions in order to get everything straight. So now we're going to have a separate person do that, and we won't be paying the auditor to do any of that work.
That is correct.
Is that right?
It's better to keep those two things separate. So we're
The auditor's supposed to be
intending to do
independent.
that.
The other thing I noticed is agreement seems to be open-ended. Is there a top? It's open-ended
It's
based
a
on
consulting
hours.
agreement, much like we have with our planner and our engineer. It's based on scope of services needed as they're needed.
You have any idea how, these numbers are pretty good size.
Right,
What this might top out at?
This type of scope, I'm just putting kind of an idea of maybe 10 to 15 hours a month to start between, for the first few months as we learn what we need to know.
Ralph, it could be $15,000 to $18,000 by the time we're done at the end of the year. I'll just give you that about number, because we started looking at it. We're into them for a few hours already, and we need to get this approved, so we can.
That would be for what period of time?
For the year.
For the year. And that's in addition to what we will be paying whatever the auditor is to do
Correct.
the audit.
Yes,
Right.
this is separate.
Separate agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I guess I'm gonna be the bad guy today. So I didn't have a chance to read all of this, obviously, but so that's my first problem. But the second thing, is there, like you said, there's like a roundabout cost? Like, is there a way that's calculated?
We're just kind of estimating how many hours we're gonna need. That's how that's.
Is there a how much per hour are we talking?
Yeah, it's in here. It's on the first page.
That's the reason I was
Under
asking the
3,
question. Everything is based on
compensation
per hour.
term.
Yeah, it could be $225 for the big head honcho, and it's down to $85 for insignificant staff. Not insignificant, but I shouldn't have said it that way. You know what I mean?
You should not say that.
No,
I anticipate we're going to be towards the
Supervisor staff.
the lower middle end of our, what their scale of pay is, because we don't need, a high-level accountant. What we need is someone who does what we do and understands what we need.
Could we have some kind of way to have, as this proceeds, keeping the board informed of how much money we're
Absolutely.
paying on this?
Yeah,
Because this is kind of a new thing. I would like to get a feel for how much it's
Yeah.
costing us as we go.
Yeah.
And making sure, and one thing, we're responsible, make sure it don't go through the roof.
Yeah. There's gonna be probably a lot more in the beginning than there will be down the road here, but yes, we
Okay.
can.
I'll be
Absolutely.
overseeing it, and I'll report monthly.
The other thing, so with the auditor, Yo and Yo, so all the extra goodies, that's not, that's just gonna be the base audit?
Base audit with those
Well-
GASB
I mean,
things and all
well-
that stuff.
No, so in the discovery process, they have gotten us to where we need to be. We're talking about next year. They're
Okay.
preparing us for the next year's audit. Our current auditors stepped in and they understood where they could, kind of help us, and they wouldn't cross the line, but there is a bit of help that we're gonna be billed for. And that was something that was brought earlier, to authorize that separate engagement agreement for services.
Okay, and that, so with this, there's gonna be no cost this year, or?
Oh, no, this is starting right away, and we're getting ready, we're learning what to do in preparation all year long. This doesn't happen in March, this happens all year long as we do budget amendments and chart of account adjustments and general ledger and journal entries. This stuff happens every month, and so we'll be learning as we go throughout the month, or throughout the year. By the time we hit our next year's audit, we should feel really confident that it'll be a nice, clean relationship. The auditors will come in, we'll hand them what they need, and they'll do it, and off they go.
They've not been able to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, this year, the accountant is gonna help us get through the rest of this, and our auditors stepped aside and said, look, we shouldn't be doing this anyway. We've already fixed a lot of that stuff for you, so yes, there will be some bills on that for that, but this is for the rest of this year, and then next year, we shouldn't need this anymore.
We've been
So
paying
from
the-
anybody.
We've been paying the auditors to do some of this stuff.
Right.
We have.
Well, they do the adjustments, but they don't then tell us what needs to be done for the next year. They
Because
just
Because they're not
do
allowed
them.
to.
Well, no, because then they'll make more money next year.
Yeah, they do, but they don't.
Well, that's true too.
We call them throughout the year like we did, that's what they billed us for. every
Yeah.
year. But this is the right way of doing it, number
I
one.
mean, there is some limitations to what an auditor can tell
It's
you
supposed to be
to
independent.
do and what they
Yeah.
can do, what, at the same time they are trying to audit you.
Right.
I know that.
The other thing, like, do we have somebody in the office that could potentially be trained to do this?
This is a CPA, man.
Well,
This is
this says,
Municipal CPAs and all this stuff.
That was
but they-
my
But they're
question.
handing that information down to our person now.
yeah, because it says
To do
develop and execute a training plan, so that's my question. Who are they training? Would it be our bookkeeper and
It'll be,
manager,
yeah,
or-
it'll be various, depending on what the function is. Our payroll, the person who does our payroll is gonna need a little more training. Our treasurer's office will probably need some as well. So every staff are gonna be touched by this, and I'll be overseeing it.
Is the intent to build a relationship with this group, so they come back minimally every year after that?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
The end of the year, this year will be a lot less, and then as we ramp up through the audit, they'll be our go-to if we have questions during the audit instead of our auditors, so there may be a little uptick during the audit season. But overall, it'll be just general, hey, I don't understand this, I read this law that's been changed, how do I handle it?
Changes in the law.
So
will
this
keep
year
it.
will be the painful year.
Correct.
Yeah. And we hope after this, we don't have that surprise anymore like we've had every year.
Well, there is so much changing all the time.
There is.
It's just like elections.
Right, you're gonna have a little bit of that, but,
Always changing.
Fired them to this.
but there was a lot of stuff where the new auditor's eyes got about that big around. We gotta do something here.
But we have worked the auditors have worked with this firm and have recommended them, and they're very efficient, so what we get, we'll get what we pay for.
Our current auditor we just hired. have
Yes,
worked this
have-
firm.
yeah, and they're very efficient, and we had a meeting with one of the principals, and we feel really comfortable that they're gonna show us what we need to know and the quickest, easiest way to get there.
Yeah, we did solicit a few people, by the way, so.
yeah.
The only question I have is, can we postpone this to the next meeting, so I have time to look over it?
I don't think.
We are under the gun, to be honest with you, right now with our auditor. We're into the fourth month of the year already for the 2023 audit. It's gotta be done by, what, June 30th? Is that right?
You can ask
We
for
kinda
a
gotta get
motion
this
to do
answer
that
now.
and see if it
We
passes.
really do.
I don't think you
Because last year we were late,
Yeah.
and we can't have that. So there's a glaring stuff that when we're kinda late getting the auditor approved by that, when we did, they're like, holy smoke, we need, So we're kind of under the gun on this, but
And you can come back and ask questions at the next meeting. We
Absolutely.
can get whatever information, but I think
we
this is
spent a lot
a
of time
good
with
thing.
this, with our bookkeeper and Cindy. and-
We want our financials
I
right
see no reason to kick this down the law, kick this can down
to
the
code,
road.
Yeah. So
whatever the cost.
I'd really like to have it completed tonight because we have to get more answers from them.
agree.
They've granted us a few answers already and they're
I
like,
agree.
we need a contract, you know?
I agree, I see no reason to kick the can down the road.
And it's as needed as we are soliciting their service. I'll make that a motion to enter.
The motion
into-
would be an authorize the township manager to execute the service agreement with the Woodhill Group, okay?
So move.
All right. Moved by the clerk, is there support?
Yeah, I'll support it.
Mr. Knopf?
I don't know what they're doing.
Deb said-
I don't like it, I know what they're doing.
Okay. I can give you this if you want.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote. Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knott?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
No.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Okay, thank you. If you see something in here, Mr. Rachel, that you aren't clear about, give me a call.
Okay,
No,
thank you.
no. If you've got other questions about this, make you comfortable with it.
Okay.
All right? Okay, news is 9. Announcements, anyone? Member comments? Anybody?
There's an announcement on the door as I came in. Oh, the chipping. I think we ought to save that over the
The what?
Oh, chipping date.
Curbside
Do we have
chipping.
that?
Curbside.
Curbside chipping's coming up, May 8th, I believe, is that correct?
Thank you, Mr. Knotts.
If you got all your stuff that you want to get rid of, your branches and limbs, lay them out by the curb and they'll come by and grind them up for you. May 8th. After
Anybody
that,
else?
you got to take care of it.
Anybody else have anything? I have St. Clair County Library Systems looking to,
Mr. Allen,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Mr. Reichley has.
is looking, okay. St. Clair County Library Systems looking for input. Anonymous survey, share your thoughts on different things, library services, programs, technology, future. There's a link, I don't know if you can see that, if you can scan it, I'm not really sure, but,
They sent them to every,
yeah.
I
So
got
if-
one I'm going to mail today.
yeah.
If people have time, go ahead and fill out. They ask us just to say something tonight about getting that done. You can go to St. Clair County Library site and probably find it too. But anyway, that's the only thing I had. What else did you have? Alan?
Just real quick, I assume everybody gets this?
Yep.
The MTA's magazine, the last one. I just wanted to read this because I think it's important, but it's about the local control of solar energy and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, there's a group called Citizens for Local Choice that's gathering signatures to get it on the ballot for November. It says, signature collection is underway by Citizens for Local Choice, which must collect a minimum of 356,958 valid signatures before May 29th to place the proposal on the November 2024 ballot. Their initiative seeks to repeal PA 233, which was strongly opposed by the MTA and its members as it quickly moved through the legislative process last fall. If successful on the November ballot, the initiative would restore critical local zoning authority to Michigan's communities for how they choose to plan and zone for clean energy. And then the MTA's Board of Directors voted to support those efforts. But, I mean, it's a good read to read the whole thing, but I mean, I think it's good, and I hope that people sign that petition and hopefully get that overturned.
Yeah.
That's all I
A
got.
few politicians that I know that I've talked to have getting a lot of heat on it. So.
I lied. I have one more thing.
You lied.
Bryson
You only
Lane.
answer one
Bryson Lane. I got a phone call.
Oh, yeah, I'm
from
glad you
somebody.
said that.
And-
Yeah,
okay.
we've notified the road commission for the grading there, and
Okay.
also I spoke with a gentleman this morning too here about restoration. I know the weather's not supposed to cooperate tonight and for the
Yeah.
next little bit here, but the contractor's gonna be starting up when the weather cooperates here to get out there, and they got driveways, concrete work to do down Point Drive and everything else to finish that up. And any place that we've had settlement with the project and everything, they're gonna finish that up this spring. So, well, let's hope in the next 2 weeks or so, they're gonna be on that. But, yeah, the Bryson grading is on our district manager's list to do. They got, and then they had some snow problems a week ago Friday, we'll figure. But- So they had to switch gears for that, but yeah, he's been notified on, they'll be on that. But the restoration hopefully will be coming soon on the project, so.
And on that-
They're
on that
working
note,
on
if you'll notice
Chamberlain.
Down 29, where they had all been dug, the restoration has been complete, and they did a very good job. Concrete and everything, grading, seeded, and I'm sure that the rest of the place will look like that too, when they can get it done. There's just a lot to do, and the weather does not cooperate.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be walking with them, and we're gonna make a punch list for the stuff that was done last year to make sure there's nothing that settled over the winter. So that'll all be addressed. But they're wrapping all that up. It's looking good, but we got a lot of work down Point Drive to do. Gravel restored on the shoulders and stuff like that, so. But they're looking to get that done, hopefully in the next week or two.
Just start digging for
When we get out in the fields to start planting, they'll be working on it. That's when we know it'll be dry enough. But the Chamberlain, I believe they've started some work down there on the boring for the new water main down there. You see the barrels down on 29 here, that's where they'll be starting for boring for
Wondered
DV in
what
there.
that was.
Yeah, that's.
Just
that's
don't take
what-
any
Yeah.
heat for DTE. They're the one that started my neighborhood up.
Well, they do, Semco does too. Is that who you're thinking of, or DTE? Semco, gas?
Well, I'm sorry, not DT. I'm sorry, DT. I mean Semco and the Miller boys. They did a good job of restoring my area when they got done. But while they're working, looks like a bunch of angry moles. And I'm wondering
Yeah.
if we're catching some heat. There's somebody thinking that's our
They do.
guys doing
They
that.
call us and we have to say, yes, you gotta call this person, but yeah, we try to keep in line with them, but. No, pump stations are moving along. The Bree Road one's pretty much done. They had a little hiccup today on one on the pump base is not gonna fit in the wet well, so we have to order a different one. But they're bypassing, they're doing everything on the hospital one like they need to do, and then the Point Drive one's moving along too. Doing a pretty good job on that.
I saw the bypass up on Hospital.
Yeah.
Is working. And
The water meter service, the two pits for the master water meters on Recor and Bree, those are pretty much done. We're waiting on power service to the one on Recor Road, and then they'll install the meter device.
I hate to
Where
bring
that's
this
at.
up since you're talking about meter pits, but I'm kind of worried about the Bell River one,
Bell River, we don't have one.
pump station.
Oh, pump station.
Yes. And what is anything, what if anything, we know about
Can
that?
I send you an email?
You sent me an email. I haven't seen anybody working out there.
Bell River Pump Station, the one that we're trying to get a grant for.
Yeah.
Peter's office sent me an email 2 weeks ago saying we've been awarded that money.
Okay, and we received any of it?
So there's where the problem comes in.
Have you let a contract yet? I mean, that pump station is the worst one we've got.
And McLean's office also told us that they've approved the Bryson Sewer Project, both of those, pending final appropriation from whoever they get their money from, which is our federal government, but they signed the $1.3 billion
that's the-
trillion dollar bill. Is that part of that, maybe? I'm hoping?
Again, that's the sewer line down Bryson. That kind of comes and goes along with the road. And
Yeah.
how are you planning on doing that?
Well, if we get a grant for it, we'll have to start working on it. We've put our time in on it.
You can't put the sewer in.
No,
You can't put the road in first. You gotta put the sewer and
No.
then put the road in.
that's exactly right. No, the Bell River Pump Station, though, Peter's office said they funded it, because we were doing congressional spending applications
Yeah.
this year again, and found out when we went to get the
Yeah, the
submission
reason I bring it up-
number, they said, we're gonna fund those once we get funding.
The reason I bring that up now, that's the worst one, and you wanna talk to Blaine about it.
Well, we don't.
Well, then they hold that thing together with Band-Aids.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be at the
Gosh.
point where all they have, gonna have to use our bypass permanently on that
Right.
station till you get it fixed.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
We're robbing parts from the ones that are being rehabbed right now that we could possibly
Right.
use in there, that'll get us by for it, but we really need to do that one too. But
I was gonna ask you if you did that. I figured Blaine, you could pull out
Keep
one of
them
those
whatever
pumps
parts
that we're still working, that we rehabbed, and put it in the Bell River.
That's what we're doing.
Because the ones in Bell River, I don't think can be repaired again. In fact, one of them's gone. There's supposed to be two pumps, and there's only one of them working.
Yeah.
Oh, boy,
All right.
that's scary.
I do have some concern about that from my other end.
Yeah, and he,
Yeah.
didn't he have a truck that he wanted to have approved tonight?
Yes, I don't have that.
I was just
Well-
thinking about that. Okay.
moving on.
We'll be getting
I'll
that to
get
you the
back
next
with you on
meeting,
that.
but it's in the budget. He's budgeted for a new pickup truck with a plow and everything, and he found a bid on one, so anyway. And there was also, well, what led me to that though, Ralph, was he also needs to buy some hoses for the new pump. And that was something he was gonna present to us too,
Thought I saw it.
so. Anybody else?
Just
have-
yard waste pickup begins this week,
Oh, I was
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
say, yeah.
first Thursday in April.
It's, spring things have begun,
What pickup?
Yes.
believe it or not.
Yard waste
Oh,
pickup.
yeah.
And we're also looking to hire a couple of seasonal park maintenance people, so put that out there.
Yeah, anybody interested in a job for the summer? What do you mean, park maintenance people? Absolutely.
That's it.
Any other comments? If not,
No, sir.
Make a motion to adjourn at 8:06.
support,
Support.
table. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.